Poppy Playtime is known for having some of the most terrifying chases and bosses known to mankind. Which of these bosses are the best and which are the worst? Well, let's find out. Alright, so starting off we have the Puger Pillar chase from chapter 2. Overall, this is a pretty nice chase, but there is a few problems I have with it. First of all is the way Puger Pillar works. If you don't know, in this chase, the only way to get jump scared is either A, you are too slow in moving through the level, or B, you move when the lights turn on. I find that this level overall is the weakest in terms of scare factor. It would have been nice if this level was a little bit more dramatic, and in saying that, a way it could have been more dramatic is instead of going straight into the Mummy Longlegs boss fight, we perhaps had to flip a switch, which would have obviously destroyed Puger Pillar. I feel this would have added a little bit more stake to the whole boss fight. Instead of going straight to Mummy Longlegs, we actually had to deal with PJ. I feel it would have made the boss fight just a little bit more better. For the next one, this is going to be Dog Day from chapter 3. This one was extremely close, but let's be honest here. The Dog Day boss fight, or the Dog Day chase, is pretty good. I like the fact that before the boss, Dog Day is actually helping us, and then eventually the smiling critters take over Dog Day's body and then chases us. But the whole chase doesn't last long. It's a very short chase, and I understand that the game is just not really trying to emphasize Dog Day as a threat, but at the same time, it would have been nice if the chase was a little longer. But I really like the fact that at the end of the chase, you actually have to use the jump pad. On my original playthrough of chapter 3, I didn't know you actually had to jump using the mechanic in the game, so I end up standing there really awkwardly, not knowing what to do, and then looking down, I see, oh, I'm actually meant to jump, and I was very close to getting jump scared, but it made the end of the boss chase a lot more intense. If the Dog Day chase was a little longer, and perhaps if more things went down during the chase, I know the smiling critters are chasing us as well, with Dog Day obviously chasing us, but if there was a little bit more length to the whole chase, maybe when we went down the slide there was a whole different section to get through, then we got to obviously the part where we jump onto the elevator, it may have been higher on this list, but I feel like because it was so short, I feel this ranking is deserving. Alright, so next is going to be Mummy Longlegs, and this one has two phases. The first phase is when we have to use the obstacles to hide from Mummy Longlegs. I really like the fact that the game makes us remember the task we just did and then makes us have to hide in that area we found. It's really awesome, and it can lead to some moments where you are absolutely dumbfounded. But the best part is obviously the chase, and the chase is an overall downgrade from the original Huggy Waggy chase from chapter 1. But I really have to say, the sounds Mummy Longlegs makes during the chase just adds a level of fear that I didn't expect to actually feel when being chased by a massive toy spider. The groans and just the absolute pain you can hear in her voice makes it all the more personal when you end up finding a way out and she screams. I know Dog Day does this as well, but I feel the way Mummy Longlegs does it is a lot more frightening. And then the last part of the fight, where we find ourselves in the room with the grinder. I feel sad for Mummy Longlegs, but at the same time, she chased us down through the whole facility, and you can't help to just feel like you have succeeded during this part. But at the same time, you feel bad because she is trying to say that she will be turned into the prototype or be part of the prototype, but at the same time, it's a very awesome boss. And I really like the fact that you actually feel connected to the person or the boss or monster you're actually facing. It makes it feel a lot more real. Alright, so next is Mr. Light from chapter 3. This boss fight is different in the fact that you are getting chased, but during the chase you actually have to perform tasks that the game gives you, and I find that it makes it a lot more stressful when you are first going through the school, because the game does emphasize where you need to go and what you need to actually activate. But with obviously Mr. Light chasing you, you can feel dumbfounded, and eventually just makes the whole chase a lot more stressful. The mechanic where you have to actually look at Mr. Light for her not to pursue you is a very smart thing they added, because it actually makes you need to look at the boss and be still, because a lot of times you want to get through the level, but there's some times where you actually need to just be still and just stare at the boss that's chasing you. And this I find is really awesome, and this definitely is present in the later half of the boss level, and you actually have to really utilize Mr. Light's mechanic or you will die. And then the part where you escape the school and you have to actually run for your life as Mr. Light pursues you down in this corridor, and then you have to flip the switch and the door crashes on Mr. Light. I find that it not only has a really cool theme with the school, but it also has a very good ending where you eventually succeed, and the whole boss fight is full with tense moments. And I really like the fact that they not only had just a really cool concept, but they also had a really awesome ending with the whole switch, and you know, it's really awesome. So the top two, and coming in at the number 2 spot, this is Catnap. And I think Catnap is the first time Poppy Playtime actually attempted a real boss fight, not one that's a chase, and I feel that they absolutely smashed it. It has this kind of Five Nights at Freddy's feel in the fact that you actually have to perform tasks throughout the boss fight, and the way they did it I feel like is really smart, because at the beginning of the boss all the things you can use against Catnap are turned on, but as the boss progresses and you have to activate the machine even more with different capsules, the actual boss becomes harder because you have less things to power up, which means if you have something that's not powered up, you have to take the power up, get it, and put it into it, which takes time. And Catnap has this mechanic where he slowly walks toward your area, and as you get further into the level, the faster Catnap is and the less things you can activate to prevent Catnap from jump scaring you. It's a very smart boss fight that uses the game's mechanics really well, and I feel like if Poppy Playtime does this more, then we actually may see even better bosses in the future. And when you get toward the end of the fight and that green spark starts to emit from the control pad, you actually need to left click to destroy Catnap. I didn't know this. I thought the cutscene just played and I got jump scared. And then the actual ending, which just leaves a lot of questions in your head. First of all, why did the prototype kill Catnap? You know, we don't know, and it just adds just so much questions for the player to answer. And I feel like it is a very awesome boss fight, one of the best in the whole series by far. And the number 1 spot, this is without a doubt the Huggy Waggy chase from chapter 1. This is the best chase in the whole series. First of all, the way they utilize Huggy Wuggy in this level. There's moments where, you know, you may feel like you are fine and then Huggy Wuggy just jumps at you out of nowhere. It just really catches you off guard. The setting as well in the vents is one that I feel like is just terrifying because it's in such a small space, and the fact that this massive creature is pursuing us in this small space makes it feel a lot more intense. And then that moment where you are just going through the level and then suddenly your exit just shuts off and then you look behind you and then Huggy Wuggy is just running towards you. It's an absolute nightmare feel, and then eventually you have to turn around and then go the other way. It's just really good at not doing too much, but at the same time it does a lot. And then the ending, where we get out of the vent by sliding down this massive vent slide, and then we have to pull the container and we pull it, which destroys the bridge, which makes Huggy Wuggy fall toward the depths of the facility. It makes you feel like you've done something wrong because no one has been to this facility and all of a sudden you have caused this massive event, and it makes you feel like you've done something that will forever change the events of Poppy Playtime. It's a very awesome level that creates a lot of questions and a lot of nightmare fuel. So that's about it for this video. On screen here is me ranking all the best jump scares from worst to best. So check that out if you haven't already. And until next time, take it easy and goodbye.